Power for she, power of she. We are struggling to figure out how do we call this. We are confused, but we will figure it out. Because I hate the word empowerment. Women empowerment is used a lot. And I'm like, when do we get to actually celebrate the power? Tomorrow, after tomorrow, we have empowered for that years now. I'm like, please, let's celebrate now the power. So this specific collaboration is between Capital FM and Experiment with Amazon. No, not going to sing, is that? Yeah, and the power that we enjoy of women where they're killing it for more than 30 years, much more than 30 years. And today I am honored to celebrate Berabose. So, and I'm gonna talk about the first time I met you. We were having so much fun. We were vibing, laughing, and then people started telling me, "Now we're also smooth, now smooth." And then I was like, "Why do I look stupid all of a sudden?" I'm like, "You guys are bullying me. Tell me who she is."
I don't even remember the first time we met.
I do. I don't remember the first time we met. Okay. And then I even remember the second time we met, and the third. Because every time there was something so specific happening. For example, do you remember that we did something with an international TV? Was it DW something?
The streets debates on like the women representation in parliament. That is so true.
And we met the that, and it was fire.
Yeah, it was.
But it was so fast. And every time when we meet, I don't know why. Sometimes it's too fast.
Yeah.
Everything's like next, and I'm like, So then I asked people to tell them to stop bullying me, and they're like, that's something rumor, something, and then we see parts, and then we see women. So we only understand that. So I did my own research, and I was like, my type of people, we're definitely gonna be working together. So she has a vibe. If you live in Kigali and you don't know her, trust me, I will be a part of those people that bully you. Because now I'm part of the community that can actually bully you. Because you have to know, you have to know how you're getting in, specifically for women. You have to know how you're putting in the work every day. Every day. So, I will allow you.
And
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me here, first of all. And also, I'm glad that you're part of my army now, but also being that we are partners, we are friends, we are sisters, and it's been such a really great solid friendship. And this is what I love most about women. There's not really, I guess, a direct way to explain what I do, just like you. So many multidisciplinary things happening. But I think in the simplest term, I love making change for women, for Africans, and for community. And everything I do, everything always revolves around how can we connect people and women in particular with information, quality information. How can we contribute to the revolution of the mind and wellness and well-being and connecting each other? Because as much as we don't see it in a change, the world is changing so much fast, right? And both as women, as African, as you mentioned, we've been empowering and developing for centuries. And it's like, what is missing? What's not happening? So I ask myself those questions and I create something around that. My first, I guess, initiative that I created is Luna Health, and that was designed to help women journey what we call the rites of passage. So from the first day a woman experiences period into menopause. And that journey is long and complicated and full of stigma and shame and misinformation. But when you're a woman, every day it's like, what is this? What's happening? How do I make sense of this? So who do you turn to when you have those questions?
That needs to be answered.
That needs to be answered fast. Because some of the questions we have, our parents needed from us. I always say that some of the women who came before us, either they were hiding something or lying to us, because nobody really prepares me for the first childbirth. They just all be like, no, but you shut it's really hitting in the face. And you're like, excuse me, why did nobody tell me about this? Because you must think about it. Creating life is not some really funny business. So Lunar Health was specifically, we need to center women because women are what drives this world.
Yes.
I don't even know why people have to question or wonder the conversation around women's month or women's empowerment. For me, like, it should be like, I don't even know why one should
Why
be
we fight
fighting their mouth. If you're not celebrating women, because all of us are here.
You know,
But a woman decided, you know what, I'm gonna bring this life.
Yes. But then circle. That one was just good.
Then you created Circle. So I created Circle a couple of years ago because I'm a very deeply spiritual person, and I'm also and by spirituality I mean to be in tune with myself, with my mind, with my thinking, and I also love Africa really as a continent. And I think so much of what has happened throughout our history has been being disconnected from ourselves, being disconnected with our culture, being disconnected with how we operate. And now we're here speaking the foreign colonized language. There's so much that happens.
Yes.
And I always had this dream that regardless of how we're growing, we need to build spaces in which where we can learn about ourselves more. And where we can learn how to take care of our mind, places where we can read, places where we can laugh,
Yes.
places where we can connect with people. You know, because now life, look at this life, it's work, home, work, home. And people are complaining, you know, I don't know how to connect with people, I don't have friends, or I'm isolated, I'm lonely, I'm depressed. But all of these are consequences and effects of like how our life is built.
Yes.
And I was really passionate and really building a space for all of us, for Rwandans, for Africans to return back to our natural being. So the circle was built as a space for that.
Yes.
I'm very glad that we're working on something very cool together. But in the simplest way, the circle is really just a wellness and healing community to heal any sort of things, right? Trauma, history, misunderstanding. It really is a place of
Colonization.
Yeah, colonization. Also in the Western mental health terms, it's always about like you get a diagnosis and you get a medication, or you walk through so many different sessions trying to find yourself.
Yes.
I think mental health and well-being are not really separate from our spirit self, and our wellness being are discovered to ourselves, to learning, to all of that. So it's finally a wellness space that actually focuses on something ancestral, something African, something communal, and it's been such a beautiful journey. You know that.
I do. Because we're turning 1 year now. We broke out. We're turning 1 year, and it was such a shock because I talked about my sister's birthday, and then someone in the group was like, but when is Rota's birthday? Because they remembered it was in March, but they were not sure what's the date. So I had to go through the other picture that we did the first time.
The first time we got there.
Then it was awesome. Why is it running so fast? I always feel like sometimes things are moving so fast.
That is true. That is the times we live in now. You blink and then time is gone. Yes, this is how I'm turning 30. I was literally like 12 years old yesterday.
I'm scared. Me, I'm like, is it us who are refusing to grow up? I don't understand that part. But I also have the same issue now with mental health. I've been trying to talk about mental health on the podcast for 2 weeks now. But every time I'm so close to talking about it, something else is happening, and I'm like, you know what? I need the Berabose to come and run. I need her to come and run down because. Can we talk about mental health for 5 minutes?
Can we please?
5 minutes.
Yes.
I'm not asking you to get bored. Okay? I'm just like, tuivugeho gato mu Kinyarwanda tubikiranye. Say mental health, what is it in Kinyarwanda? What is it that we're doing, that we're trying? Because I'm like, we're doing so much work at the circle. But then when I try to explain it, people are like, huh? It's like I'm giving too much information at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, feminine energy, how do we slow this down again? How do we? So can you talk to us about the work that you are doing with mental health?
I have always been really quite confused why such subjects and topics are stigmatized and and taboo. Because if you can talk about the hurt, the body, the legs, you have to talk about the mind, because at the end of the day, where do you think everything is coming from?
Yes.
It's literally everything is the brain. If the brain stops tomorrow, how could you go to work?
Brain dead.
There's brain dead is a dead person.
It's a full dead.
And so like mental health is really central part of actually our health,
Yes.
our well daily basis. If you can't sleep for 5 days,
How are you functioning?
How are you functioning?
How are you doing?
You don't look okay. You know?
They're trying their best to be round and about it, but they're like, you need help.
It's physical.
We don't know which one we need.
It's physical.
But yes.
And all conversation around mental health is like that. If you're going through grief, nobody can pretend even for the slightest second that losing someone that you love is fine. You know it's terrible. It's devastating.
Yes.
It's hurtful, right? Losing a love is difficult. Being lonely is difficult. Being in isolation is difficult.
Yeah.
All of these conversation is about mental health.
Yeah.
So the fact that we don't talk about it has always been really confusing to me, because if they take you like this and put you in a room for 1 month without seeing a human being, do you know who's gonna come out? A mad person.
Yes.
You will be crazy. Yeah. And that's what mental health is. Like your mind can actually literally do so many things until you pause and say, I need just as much as I drink water, just as much as I run for my physical health, so just as much as I sleep together in my head.
Do you also think maybe we struggle with dealing with mental health because we feel like we haven't yet related the word mental health in the system to our culture? Because, for example, I never forget, I had a conversation once with my mom who's here, and I was talking about Indiyela, which is a word is used to use as a bad thing. And then she was like, actually, it's a word, but you don't understand the full
the story behind
it. She related it to mental health. She related it to how Rwandans used to take care of their people when they're dealing with mental health. If someone needs solitude, we keep using the word solitude so people don't understand. But then when you put it in proper Kinyarwanda, people are like, hey, if the mama need to. So maybe the conversation is getting hard or difficult to talk about because we haven't yet fused it with our language.
100% agree. And I think this is something that we have truly in common, because the reason why I'm so keen on decolonization as part of mental well-being is because everything, the way we learn information as Africans, it seems so foreign to us, right? Once you're told something as foreign, then you feel like it's something you have to adapt.
Yes.
And even where our parents will talk about it, they'll be like, but nobody knows mental health like Rwandans actually are die with this hill, because we have a history of struggle, a history of fighting, a history of isolation, separation. Now, I'm sure why in Rwanda and don't understand how it means to struggle. To live under despair. So when we introduce it from a very foreign Muzungu aspect, it makes it feel that once someone says solitude and meditation, all of a sudden it feels like, what is that? What am I supposed to do with that? But even the idea of Western mental health is that they steal these things from other communities like ours, right? And rebrand it, package it for us, and we're like, this looks fancy.
And it makes sense.
But when you go back to how Rwandans live, when we started Lota, ibintu byose ugasasa hasi abantu bakaganira with the fire, start talking, how are you feeling? Mumeze gute, mukavugana story, umuntu ukamumenya se ukomoka he, uwo kwande, waturutse he, and then you start realizing there's a much deeper aspect to that person than the surface level. But that's what therapy is.
Yes.
The person who is trained in this profession is investigating and examining who you are. But this is why I don't like how mental health is packaged in Western foreign. But we need to find that language. I know most of us are disconnected and don't know much about it. This is why it's so hard to talk about it.
Yes.
Because you spend time thinking, and you want to go with Rwanda, what would be someone who's dealing with bipolar? If you describe the symptoms to an elderly, they're like,
Ibyo babyita kuvugana. For example, I really think depression has an actual name in Kinyarwanda.
Of
And I'm searching for it. Nagaragarinda kakabisha. People keep using the word again, and I'm like, that's not what our Rwandans call it. I'm sure.
But I also learned for years working with communities, I think that it's fine that most of our language are also very descriptive, right? When you do communal, we have done different communal wellness and mental health spaces, and English as a language is actually not a very rich language, because I can say sad, but it's also because it's not our language, so it feels like, how starved are you? But when you look at how community heal together, in a really deep issue, and you ask them, describe to me how you're feeling, right? And this is a friend of mine who recently described it to me. And mama aravuga ati ndikumva ari nkaho bamfashibuye bakanitereka. Then you are able to understand how this person is feeling.
Not just like heavy.
Not just saying like I'm sad, because sad is a spectrum. It could be in different ways. And I actually came to admire that our language doesn't have to be just one word. If we go good morning, whatever, that it's like you know? Because it's such a rich way of describing things, and it makes so much more sense than a simple word, than maybe to describe it. I'm actually figuring out that instead of us adopting our language towards the English, which is what I think about translation, English should be adopting towards.
But they're trying, because when they keep saying binary, or they don't want to say he or she, for me, I'm like, you just have to speak here.
Exactly.
You don't have
There's no pronouns.
Yeah, not.
Because why would you be a person first?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not. So yeah, you're right.
We limit ourselves. I think so. Depression, even for me now, depression now makes so much sense to me because I have learned and read about it. But kugira umuntu yuko numva mfite agahinda cyangwa mbabaye cyangwa ndahangayitse, it's much more better to me now than saying I'm anxious. Or I'm sure I'm depressed. You know that but people like, oh what? It's like it doesn't make so much sense. That they know something in my brain is not clicking. It's not aligning.
So we're going back to the roots.
We have to go back to the
We have to go back to the
at least
Can you say, is there a woman you would love to celebrate? A woman you'd love, the name and what she does?
Do they have to be Rwandan or just anyone?
No, anyone.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say too. I love my mother. I love the strength because I stand on the shoulders of everything she has ever done. But one of the very African women heroes that I celebrate is a woman called Wangari Maathai.
We will put correctly.
Yes,
we will send.
She's a Kenyan activist, because I think her work is beyond just resisting against the patriarchy. It was about land protection, land ownership. It's about shifting, decolonizing our minds and all of that. Please, if you have a chance and you're a woman, read more about her, celebrate her, see what she can teach you. Such a wonderful force, man. When you're not powerful African women, you never go back.
Come on.
They're fine.
Thank you so much. I celebrate you and keep killing it. And your power, we feel it. Thank you. So, keep up with the rhythm.